What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. I talked about in one of my previous videos about the Clippers looking for a big man. And the last couple of days, just been looking over the sources and the sites and everything. Rudy Gobert's name comes up for the Utah Jazz in regards to big men that they possibly could trade for. And to me, if the Clippers are looking into a player like Rudy Gobert, or if the Clippers want to trade for Rudy Gobert, whatever the case may be, I don't really think it would be that beneficial for them, not based upon what I've seen from Rudy Gobert on the Utah Jazz. But, sometimes you look at situations and you be like, is this who this player really is? Or could he evolve more if he was in a better situation? Now, of course, you can say that about any player, but some players, sometimes you say that and they're put in better situations when trades happen and they still play the same and they're still not impactful the way they weren't on the previous team. And when I think of Rudy Gobert, that's what I think of. I don't really see his impact being better for a team that's trying to win a championship like the Clippers, because the Clippers have defense. Matter of fact, the Clippers are, the last couple of years, they've been top 5, top 10 in defense in the league. I mean, maybe a little bit lower than that, without Kawhi and PG there. But, when they are on the floor, they're one of the top defensive teams in the league. And now you add Robert Covington mixed with, Norman Powell. They still got Nicholas Batum. Mook, he can play both sides of the ball. Zubac, he plays some defense, even though he could be a little bit better on defense, but still, he still plays defense, and he doesn't play it as well as I think he should, but he does have some defensive prowess about him. And, as collectively as a team, they play really good defense. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if getting Rudy Gobert would really help them be better. And that's the reason why I said Rudy Gobert is a one-dimensional player to me. He has a lot of talent in regards to one side of the floor. But the reason why I think Utah can't go anywhere is because he doesn't have much talent on the other side of the floor, which means he's not a DeAndre Ayton, somebody like that. The way you look at DeAndre Ayton play with the Phoenix Suns, they dump the ball into him sometime and let him work, let him cook. You can't do that with Rudy Gobert because he's like slow mentally on that side of the floor, which is the offensive side of the floor. He doesn't figure out his footing. He doesn't, demand a presence. He doesn't ingratiate himself in the offense where he can be effective, because he really doesn't have any offensive skills. He doesn't have a go-to move. He doesn't have a 1-2 drop step, maybe with a hook shot that's effective or that's consistent. He can't shoot 17, 18 feet that well. I mean, he does it okay at times, but I mean, it's very minimal that he does. And his free throws are not great at all, really. And he's just a liability on the offensive end. It's almost like the Utah Jazz are playing 4-on-5, and that's the reason why the Utah Jazz can't never get anywhere. The only reason why I think they had the number 1 seed a couple seasons ago is because they had extra shooting, which allowed them to be more lethal from not only the 3-point line, but also just in regards to how their offense was ran. Because, I thought when they lost Joe Ingles, or, whatever the case may be with him, I thought their whole offense changed. And I think you've seen it this year specifically. They looked okay at times, but without Joe Ingles, that extra shooter with Bogdanovich, it made them very, very minimal on offense because of Rudy Gobert's inconsistency on offense. Now, he gives you everything on defense, but to me, even on defense, I don't look at him as the baddest you-know-what in the league. To me, a defensive player of the year, he got to have that dog in him, or that bad look like the baddest mofo in the league. He got to have that dog about him. He got to have that presence about him. Like if Giannis won the defensive player of the year, I could see that. Giannis looks like one of the baddest in the paint. You come in the paint, Giannis gonna send it in the 4th row. You see what I'm saying? Like, Giannis gives people that intimidation on the court because he's so dominant mentally and he got that dog in his game. Even Marcus Smart has dog in him. You know what I'm saying? He has that dog, that umph in his game that makes him like, okay, when you play against Marcus Smart, you're going to get some defense. You know, he going to give you that work. You see what I'm saying? But even Rudy Gobert, the defensive titles that he won, I never really looked at him as a really, really good defensive player because he just doesn't strike me as the type of guy that puts fear in other people's heart when they come into the lane. Because a lot of people has dunked on him, which, you know, all shot blockers get dunked on and all that stuff. I get it, but he just doesn't put fear in the other opponent's heart to me. And that's the reason why I never really respected his game. I mean, I respect the fact that, you know, he's won his Defensive Player of the Year titles, but I just thought they probably could have split it or gave it to somebody else. Or hell, maybe just give it to Kawhi Leonard. He's the best defender in the NBA, regardless of what anybody says, because nobody can play both ends of the floor. Nobody has better defensive highlights just as good as offensive highlights the way Kawhi Leonard does. So you can give him the Defensive Player of the Year every single year. To me, if you ask me, between him and Giannis, you know, if Kawhi played a whole season, but still, this is my point. I don't really see how Rudy Gobert would fit with the team the way they are now because, like I said, they're already good defensively collectively as a team, and that's what helps the Clippers. They play good defense as a unit, which allows them to get turnovers, cause deflections, and keep the offense going. And the Clippers got very versatile players. Like even Nicholas Batum being older, he's still very versatile. He still can move his feet pretty good on defense, good enough to, you know, to bother the person who he's guarding. And on top of that, he can switch 1 through 5 position in guarding them. Same thing with Robert Covington. Actually, the same thing with Kawhi Leonard. You see what I'm saying? So they got pieces where that are interchangeable to me, where they can put one here, one on the 1 position, 1 through the 5 position. I mean, they got 3 guys on there who can defend 1 through 5 position, and maybe even 4 if you add, Paul George, because Paul George can guard pretty well, you know, different positions. So this is what I'm saying. When you look at their defense and overall in its totality, they have enough on defense to win. I mean, think about it. They beat Utah without Kawhi Leonard, and they just had Paul George and the rest of the crew, and Terrence Mann went off for like 39 points. They beat Utah without their best player, and Rudy Gobert was playing. So this is what I'm saying. Rudy Gobert doesn't strike fear into anybody like that. When the Clippers played Utah in a 7-game series, year before last, whatever you want to call it, they beat them in 6 games, whereas Utah should have won that series because they were up 2-0 in that series. And then all of a sudden, you know, Kawhi came back next couple games, and then he got hurt. But still, the Clippers helped him out and helped the organization out by finishing the Utah Jazz off and made it to the conference finals against the Phoenix Suns, where they took them 6 games. So this is what I'm saying. Like, when you have a player like Gobert, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not useful. But for a team like the Clippers, who already have collective defense overall, I don't really feel like his services would be 100% needed to help them get over the hump to win a championship. I feel like, you know, if anything, keep what you have and maybe just add another big man in there who can just give you some backup role presence, who can help develop like a Zubac or somebody like that, or maybe even Hardenstein a little bit more, you know, season up their skills a little bit and kind of just go from there. Like if they hypothetically got, like I said the other day, if they hypothetically got somebody like, like Dwight Howard or something like that. Just another backup body in there who can come in, disrupt some things, block some shots, maybe knock down some big free throws. Like Dwight Howard's got better with his free throws over the years. And he can come in and give you very, very, productive minutes on both sides of the floor. Because if you throw the ball into Dwight Howard, he still, has a little hook shot that he likes to use at times, like I seen him do when he played, when the Lakers actually put him on the floor and he played. He still goes at people, with his force. He's not as athletic as he used to be. Of course, he's not the Dwight Howard he was in 2003, 2004, but he's still an effective big man where he can get you about 8 to 10 points a game if given the opportunity, and give you about 8 to 10 rebounds a game. So, with that being said, and another thing, he's a good offensive rebounder too. So, I mean, that's another thing. And like I said, he wouldn't be coming in there to take the starting role or anything, because he's not at that stage in his career. He's just coming there to help out, be an extra body, be a mentor, in the locker room for especially the two big men that they have, which is Zubac and Hartenstein, especially Zubac, unless they trade Zubac or whatever the case may be. But he can help develop those players and also give them wisdom and insight of what he knows while going out on the court doing it in the minimal minutes that he gets. So to me, that's all the Clippers need, if you ask me. They don't really need a player like Rudy Gobert who's going to come in there, and come in there and play one side of the basketball and be so useless on the other side. I mean, it would just be a waste. Now, I will say this: Ty Lue brings the best out of people. He brings the best out of all players. So maybe he can turn Rudy Gobert into more of an offensive player by giving him that opportunity. But I don't really see it, because the only thing Rudy Gobert can do is catch lobs and dunk. And, he can't shoot free throws that well. Like I said, he doesn't have a mid-range that's consistent, and he doesn't really have like a go-to move that he can go to at all times and just kind of like, utilize his skills on that side of the floor that makes him effective, which is the reason why I think, personally, the Utah Jazz is looking to get rid of him, either him or Donovan, because like I said, I mean, that operation just hasn't worked. They've been the number 1 seed. They've been all that, but in the playoffs, they just don't really seem to go nowhere past the second round. And it's just not good enough, especially with the talent that they have on that team. So I personally think the Clippers should just lay off or lay back on this one, overlook it, let it go over their head and keep going, because I don't really think he'd be a good fit for them. But I mean, we'll have to see what happens and see what transpires in the offseason. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.